I wanted to make an addendum to the video, Go With The Flow. Now, I love my friend's philosophy about, Sabrinka, your standard is too high, right? You got to start with people in the basement, the sub-basement, according to her, And it's true as a philosophy, like you can't expect people to be at the same standard as you in all things. That's just not going to happen, And that's why we have each other, so that we can learn from each other which standard to set. Now, I understand emotionally and mentally that, not everybody's going to be at my standard. And there are people whose standard I'm not at. And that's okay, because we all have to learn, right? But that doesn't always mean you go down and help them come up, Like, if they need help, certainly help. But, you'll know how to identify the ones who just want you in the basement with them, is what I'm saying. You'll know how to identify them. Follow your intuition. If your intuition tells you that that didn't sound right, what they just said to me, it sounded slick. Then they might be one of those people who want you in the basement with them, I mean, you want them to come up to your understanding, right? But sometimes you do have to explain. That don't mean don't come down to be with them. But, you want to make sure that, they are they're raising themselves up, Not just to bring you down. But I think she also means expectations, like don't expect so much from people right off the bat, And that I would agree with. I'd agree with that. So wherever you can meet them, possibly. And then, there are the ones that are not going to be worthy of that. Those are the ones you got to be watching out for. And I don't care how they look on the outside, you're going to start to feel it. One of the ways you start to feel it is if you start losing shit. Like, first small things, maybe an earring, maybe your car keys. Like, where the hell has my keys? They just grew legs. But then it'll be bigger things like your job, possibly your home, possibly, the respect and trust of your family and colleagues and stuff like that. You start doing wild stuff. And you're being brought down. You want someone who, even if they don't have it, who still wants the best for you, and sometimes they do have it, they just don't want you to have more than them. But God made this earth. There is enough for everyone. You can't always believe what's before your eyes. You just got to go out and make it with faith in Him. There's a lesson of karma that I learned, I want to say about 10 years ago. really do have to watch the company you keep, because some people come with negative karma already. Now, if you imagine a number line, right? And on the right side of the number line is positive karma, and on the left side of the number line is negative karma. Well, some people who you're probably getting to know, they're on the negative side of karma, right? So say, for example, you got like 130 positive karma points. And then you meet somebody who got 150 negative karma points. What you think's gonna happen when you start exchanging energy with them on a more frequent basis? Their negative karma is going to start to eat up your positive karma. And that's one of the universal laws. It's true, you can't spend too much time with negative people. And let me tell you, money don't mean shit. It's about what's inside. Because even if you can't see it happening, or you don't know what it is right away, because I couldn't identify it. I was like, why are all these things happening to me? Why are all these negative things happening to me? And like in such a short period of time, because you probably spending too much time with that person who already has negative karma. And it's only two things. Either they cleaning it up with God, or they making more of it. And they spending time with you. So this was the lesson. I had met somebody, right? We became friends. And so we used to meet and chat once in a while, you know. And he was fun, you know. He had a great personality. I love a man with a personality, you know. Who's confident in himself regardless of how he looked. Because he wasn't the finest grape on the vine, okay? But anyway, and you know, I guess where he was from, he had a notorious name. But you know, I met him as a working person, because I was a working person, you know. And so, you know, we used to meet and chat from time to time and see if we, you know, talk, see if we knew some of the same people, you know. Stuff like that. And then after every time we would meet, go to lunch or something, you know, I found that I was like losing things. First, it was one of my favorite pair of earrings. I lost one of them. Now, I had lost and found this earring plenty of times, okay? And those earrings are like, well, back then, they would have been like 10 years old already, you know? If not more than that. And I lost one of them, and I couldn't find it again. And I was just like, something is wrong, because I always find that earring again. Then I had some jam up at my bank from some old debt collector or something like that. I said, wait a minute. Why is all of this happening? And then something else happened. I think I was driving, and this car came speeding out of nowhere. I think it made the turn, or it ran a red light, and it almost hit me. I said, why is all of this happening? Because there's an exchange of energy happening, you know. So they're getting more of your good karma, and you're getting more of their negative karma. God taught me this lesson. So you have to be very, very careful about who you spend most of your time with. This is true. I drew this out when I first realized what was happening, when it was revealed to me that this is, why you can't be around everyone. This is why you can't let anybody just be around you, but you are supposed to be getting to know people. But once you detect that person is not interested in clearing up that negative karma, they just creating more of it, that's when you make your exit. That's when you make your exit. Stay with God too, so he can lead you out. So I lost the earring. I had a jam up at the bank. I think I almost got hit while I was driving. And, other things beginning to happen too. And I was just like, nah, something is wrong. But God revealed to me that you need to be away from this person because they have a lot of negative karma. And of course, he had told me all of his stories from back in the day. And the majority of them were, real street crime dramas, He had also been in prison for a very long time, too, for what he used to do. I ain't gonna tell you that. But anyway, because, I can't tell all his business, but it's interesting, honey. It's interesting. So I was like, oh, now I see. Now I see. And so I put some distance in between me and him, Some distance. And then, because, I think I've racked up a lot of positive karma, even though back then I was less ascended than I am now, But I understood still, just off of intuition, just off of that. You need to put some distance between you and this person. And God sent me a dream too. He wasn't playing. I had a dream that me and this person was in a car and I had a shotgun in my lap. And there were two other people in the back seat, but I could never see their faces. They was just like blurs. So we was driving somewhere real fast and I had a shotgun in my lap. And we was in like a white Jetta. I remember that. And Jettas had, going out of style by then, But we were in it and we was headed somewhere, right? And he showed me his face, like, this person. And then next, judgment came. And I was bowed before my Lord. And I can see under my arm that there was a lady and a boy who wasn't bowed. And I knew where they were headed. Because when you're in front of God, you have to bow. And that was the dream. And then it started, the ascension. He took us up with him, and his face was so bright. Wait, I gotta stop so I can tell y'all this.